Hello and welcome. Today we're working on explaining how to do target profit analysis in managerial accounting. So this is a cost volume profit analysis topic. It includes things like break-even analysis and target profit margin and margin of safety. So there's several things going on with this cost volume profit analysis. And there's a CVP playlist, so check it out if you need to understand how all this works with this topic. Hey, if you're new, my name's Jeff from Finally Learn, where I just teach financial skills, including accounting and Excel. So let's get started with our target profit example. Now, it's built on break-even, so you need to know how to do break-even, and then we'll add the target profit on top of that. So let's say our sales price is given at $80. Our variable cost is $48. Our fixed cost is $40,000, and we want a target profit of $12,000. Well, really, this is built on the break-even in units and break-even in sales. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take fixed cost divided by contribution margin per unit to get the target profit, which is our goal, our desired profit. We're just going to take fixed cost plus the target profit. So let's do both, make sure we know how this works. So to get our per unit, we're going to say $80 minus the 48. Well, how much are we making per unit in contribution margin? Well, 80 minus 48, that's $32. Well, what percentage do we have? Well, the sales are always going to be 100%. And if we take 48 divided by the 80, we're going to equal 60%. And then 32 divided by 80 is going to be the 40%. So that's how we get started with this type of problem. So our break-even in units is going to be the fixed cost of $40,000 divided by our contribution margin per unit of 32. Well, what's that going to be? That's going to be $40,000 divided by $32 each. We need to sell approximately 1,250. So our answer in units is 1,250. Well, our target profit, if we want to achieve a $12,000 profit, then we need to sell more. So here's the math on this. It's going to be the same 40,000, but we're going to add the 12,000. So now we need 52,000 in the top of the fraction, the numerator, divided by the $32. Well, what's our sales in units now? 52,000 divided by 32, we've got to sell something like 1625. So our target profit is a higher level than our break-even point. But you see, this formula is built on the break-even formula, right? We can do this and switch over for sales. So sales in dollars, our fixed costs are the same 40,000, but we can do it divided by the 40%. So this is going to give us sales in dollars. 40,000 divided by 40% is going to be $100,000 is our break-even point in sales. Well, for our target profit, it's going to be the 40,000 plus the 12, so that's total of 52,000. I'll just point to that. Divided by the same 40%. So what level of sales do we need to achieve? 52,000 divided by 40%. We've got to achieve $130,000 worth of sales. So if you have a problem where you do target profit, then here's our two answers. The target profit is going to be 1,625 in units or 130,000 in dollars. Now, what's the relationship there? If I take 1625 times 80, that's going to equal $130,000. Now let's prove it. I want you to see the big picture of this. Let's prove that the first one is the break-even point. Let's prove that our total sales of $1,250 is really our break-even point, and then we'll prove that our target profit is really at $1,625. Well, if we have our total sales to be $1,250 times the selling price, so I'm going to take the $1,250 times the selling price of $80. So we know our sales have to be 100,000. That checks out what we have. And so our 100,000 sales, our variable cost is going to be $12.50 times the $48. Our contribution margin, 100 minus the 40, the 60 is going to equal 40. Our fixed cost is 40. And so therefore we have 40 minus 40, the profit is 0. Well, if we look at per unit, let's think about what we know that's given here. The per unit is going to be $80. Our variable cost is 48, and subtract that out. 80 minus 48 is going to be 32. I'm going to do these all in dollars. And we might have pennies on a different example here. Well, if we have 40,000 divided by the number of units, that's going to be 32, and then 0 divided by the number of units will give us 0. So not very interesting at the point of break even. Well, what's our percentages? Well, we know this is 100%. We can start with that. In fact, let's make all these percentages here. So we'll start with 100%. Well, we know the 48 divided by the 80 is still going to be 60%. The 32 divided by the 80 is still going to be 40%. Well, 32 in this case divided by the $80 is 40%, and then 0 divided by the 80% is 0%. Now, not very exciting if we're talking about the break-even point. But what we've done, we've built a financial model, right? And so if I change this first number, everything will get updated. So let's put in 1,000. If our number of units are 1,000, we're going to have a loss. We'll have a loss of 8,000, and all the percentages and the dollar amounts will update, except the ones that are constant, right? The 40,000 is constant, the 80 and the 48 and the 32 and the 100. In fact, let me highlight the ones that are constant. Those are constant, and these are constant. So let's go back to our original number of 1250. So at 1250, you see all the numbers change except for what's constant. We know the sales price is the same, the variable cost is the same, we know our contribution margin is the same, and those percentages, and our fixed cost total is the same. So let's plug in what would happen at 1625. So I'm just going to type in 1625, and everything's built on formulas. So we're going to have a $12,000 profit. That's our target profit. So it looks like the math works. It's going to get down to like 9.23%. By the way, this is our profit margin percentage. So you could call this is our target profit margin percentage, 9.23. Our profit per unit is $7.38. It's probably something like 7.37.5 cents or something like that. We can go to more decimals if we need to. But what would happen at 2,000? Well, at 2,000 we would have a 15% profit margin and a $24,000 profit margin. So you can build a template, you can build a financial model based on this cost, volume, profit, and do a little what if.